Okay, so we're just picking right up where we left off from the last video, and now I'm going to show you how to work with levels. So this level here, which I've kind of messed up right by just moving the geometry around, there's these like shadows that are stuck on the floor, which we'll get into in the lighting portion. And then I have this like kind of table and geometry set up here in the scene. But this is only one level, and if I want to save this level, which I actually don't want to save this, but if I want to save this level, I can file save current as. And the level system, if you think about it, is very much like a video game. And so in a Mario video game, there will be 32 worlds, for example. And each world is basically a level. And each level is a contained scene. So really, for what we're doing, each level is a contained scene. So I will go ahead and save this, though. I'm going to actually make a new folder as I went to File, Save As. I'm going to make a new folder for maps, or I'll call it scenes, actually. And I'm going to title this one Messy, from where I was just messing around with the stuff in the scene. So now we have a new folder we've created, and we've created a new level by doing the File, Save As. And so anytime we want to load this level, we can just open it up here. And this becomes really interesting, especially once you start to look into the starter content. So a big portion of Unreal Engine is learning to navigate the different folder structures that you can find with various asset packs or of your own creation. So in the starter content, you'll notice they have a folder within that titled Maps. Earlier, I had grabbed assets out of the Props folder. Now I'm going to access the Maps folder, and let's take a look at the starter map. So this is pretty interesting. So as soon as I've double-clicked on this, I have loaded into a new map. If this is the first time you're doing this, it will take a while for the engine to compile the shaders. And that means it's just preparing all of the materials. This particular map or level is just a demo of the different content that's housed inside the starter content. I had you add it because it has a nice collection of materials just ready to roll out of the box, and these are all demoed here. It also comes included with some particle effects, which can be placed in the scene. You'll notice these even have audio, so if you hit the play button, you'll hear the audio as well. This also showcases some of the really interesting potentials of the materials in Unreal. So you can do these like living and procedural materials where they have panning effects, right? So the water, even though this is a totally flat box surface, it gives you the illusion of water. And this is how Unreal and games in general do a lot of their visual effects. It's smoke and mirrors. It's not actual water like undulating. It's just a flat texture that is slowly moving across the surface. But take a second perhaps to look through some of these. You'll even notice these are really nice reflections on the marble and some different properties. But this is just a good example map. And if you do hit play here, you can see that they have some physics started. They have some sound and music playing, and you can just have a good time running and jumping around. And if you jump off, you'll fall into oblivion and never come back. But if you press escape, you can just get out of that. It's kind of fun though. So that's that map. And you'll notice in the starter content there are a few maps here, and it's really, really quick and easy to just jump between these different levels. And so you can house an entirely different scene inside each level. But how this will work is rather than each time you want to create something new in Unreal, you don't need to make a new project. You can actually just make a new scene within the same project, and so all your scenes will start to share assets. So you'll notice that an Unreal project is pretty heavy as far as storage space on your computer, but the good news is you won't need a lot of them. You'll notice I have several on my computer, if you noticed, in the Launcher tab, but that's just because I've been doing a bunch of different projects for a long time, so they just accumulate that way, but you don't need more than one, really, for what you're doing. If we want to create a new level with nothing in it, a totally blank canvas for us to start, that's what we're going to do here, because that's where we're going to begin. To do that, you go to File, new level, and here it gives you a few templates. We can actually start with the time of day template. I think this is a really interesting one to begin because it has some of the lighting set up in a really nice way for you. You'll notice it even has these text prompts placed on the ground. So I'm just going to do what it says here. I'm just going to hold Control and L and move my mouse. And as I do that, you'll see this sundial control has appeared. And they have set this particular scene up so that as the sun gets closer to the horizon, the color becomes more like sunset. It becomes more golden red. And as it goes higher up, it's more neutral and blue. So this is a pretty interesting one potentially to just start as a default scene, just so you have the lighting set up and ready to go. It's pretty basic, but also very, very handy. So potentially think about that when you're starting your own scene here. You also notice it has the clouds and sky set up as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to start a totally blank level, a completely empty one. And this is where we're going to begin our process. So I'm not going to save the changes to this one, and it'll prompt you with these kinds of prompts every time you either try to leave a level or move to a new one without saving. But I'm not going to save this one. But now that I have created this empty level, totally blank, black space, I'm actually going to first thing do a file save as on this level. And this is important because if you don't do this first and you build lighting out, when you save it, the lighting changes. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. It could be a bug, but really I think it's just because the lighting isn't being temporarily stored with the level data. So you need to save your level first. So I'm going to call this gray box 1, implying that there may be more, perhaps, but we'll start with 1. And I just saved that into the scenes folder. So now, if I double click messy, we can go back to my first messy scene that was built here, and we can jump to our new empty scene. And on this level is where we will begin the next video process of constructing our world.